Who knew that a simple election could have Americans rushing to your country?
Hoy empezamos a dar vuelta a la página de nuestra historia.
Argentina's recent election shook things up as Milei clinched the win. Riding on an anti-establishment platform similar to former U.S. President Donald Trump's style, with several promises of changing policies, many people are thinking of moving to Argentina. And there are quite a few reasons why. So let's explore them all. The results from the runoff in the presidential race weren't exactly shocking, given how deeply frustrated the voters were with the economic turmoil in the country. Inflation soaring at 140%, and almost 40% of the population affected by poverty were among the distressing realities. Even a hefty $44 billion debt program with the International Monetary Fund barely made a dent in Argentina's mounting problems. People were clamoring for change, and they wanted it fast. This unconventional candidate, Milei, made headlines by wielding a chainsaw during the election campaign, vowing to trim down the government size. A former TV personality and economist, he clinched victory with 56% of the vote, facing off against the current economy minister, Sergio Massa, who secured 44%. His promise to revamp the government and purge it of corrupt politicians struck a chord with Argentines eager for a shift. Milei's vision is remarkably radical, even by Argentine standards, yet people were willing to overlook his unorthodox style for the promise of transformation and a fresh start. After the victory, Milei championed a vision for limited government, respect for private property, and free trade. He boldly declared an end to what he called the decadent model.
Ustedes ven como yo, la impunidad y la justicia. Entonces, si ustedes quieren cambiar este sistema decadente,
emphasizing that there's no turning back, marking the beginning of Argentina's revival and the termination of the state's overwhelming grip that benefits only a few, leaving the majority in hardship. Let's start with getting to know about Argentina's brand new leader. There's a reason why, as soon as he won, the streets of Buenos Aires erupted with joy. Drivers honked their horns, and thousands gathered outside Milei's party headquarters in downtown Buenos Aires, celebrating his victory. Supporters like Emmanuel expressed hope for long-term change with this new government. However, not everyone shared the celebratory mood. Some, like Giannina Fernandez, a supporter of Massa, expressed sadness and concern, feeling that this victory might not represent inclusivity and neighborly love, highlighting the divisions among the people.
Esto duele mucho.
Milei holds an extreme belief that all governments are essentially criminal entities managed by thieves. His bold promises encompass slashing government expenditures, privatizing key sectors like education and the economy, and dismantling what he terms the caste, a cluster of politicians and bureaucrats he accuses of plundering the country's resources. Comparisons drawn between Milei and former President Trump by the U.S. media highlight shared traits. Both transitioned from TV screens to political platforms, fostering deeply personal connections with their supporters, a hallmark of populist leaders. Their styles, marked by polarizing and outspoken approaches, have similarities. Milei supporters have some colorful nicknames for him, like the Crazy and the Wig, nodding to his passionate demeanor and his wild, unkempt hair. On his own terms, he embraces the moniker of the Lion. Trump assured Milei,
"Turn your country around and truly make Argentina great again."
While Bolsonaro remarked, "You represent a lot for Brazil." His personality stands out. It's a core part of his image. He's had a stint as the frontman of a Rolling Stones cover band, and currently, he's the proud owner of 5 cloned dogs, all named after right-wing economists. He's made headlines for floating the idea of allowing individuals to sell their own vital organs. Quite the unconventional proposition, isn't it? Not too long ago, Milei was merely a talking head on television, a fiery figure known for railing against government spending and the ruling elite. But as of a few months ago, very few thought he stood a chance at becoming the president of South America's second-largest economy. Yet, here he is, shaking up Argentina's political scene, challenging what has long been a two-party dominance by rallying an impressive wave of support. In the run-up to the election, Milei consistently topped the polls among voters aged 16 to 35. Mark P. Jones, a Latin American studies professor at Rice University, attributes this to the deeply rooted discontent with Argentina's ongoing crisis and Milei's identity as an outsider to the political establishment. According to Jones, younger voters view Milei as someone taking on the system, a rebel of sorts. He's managed to create a disconnection in their minds between his more conservative policies and his persona, allowing him to strike a chord with this demographic. So if expats are excited about this promised change that's about to turn Argentina around, why wouldn't they wish to move there? So far, Milei has made it clear that there's no space for taking things slow, no space for being lukewarm, or settling for halfway measures. The new president is set to take office on December 10th. However, hitting the ground running might not be the best decision. Regardless, there are several proposals that Milei has already put forth, and it's safe to say that they're all pretty radical. One of Milei's bold proposals is to dollarize the economy by 2025, aiming to put a stop to the inflation cancer that's plagued the nation. This move involves adopting the US dollar as Argentina's currency, but it comes with a trade-off: letting go of control over monetary policy, like setting interest rates. The country won't have the power to print more money, which is the primary driver of inflation. The catch? It demands a significant stash of greenbacks. However, the IMF has raised concerns, flagging Argentina's dollar reserves as critically low. Despite support from the center-right opposition, political newcomer Milei faces a hurdle. Analyst Carlos Gervasconi from Torquato di Tea University pointed out that Milei has very little legislative power. This means passing laws like currency changes or closing the central bank isn't a walk in the park. Massa, on the other hand, has criticized the dollarization plan, calling it a surrender of national sovereignty. But looking at the prospect of this change, dollarization could pull Argentina out of the depths of inflation that it's currently experiencing, offering both locals and expats a much more affordable living experience. But there's another reason why dollarization is almost necessary at this point. Maintaining the stability of Argentina's peso has been a long-standing challenge. The country has tightly controlled the exchange rate of the peso against the dollar for years. Before the recent election, this rate was frozen for 3 months. Now it's allowed to devalue by 3% monthly. Nicholas Saldias, a senior analyst at the Economist Intelligence Unit, described this exchange rate as a total fiction and stressed how expensive it is to maintain. He noted Argentina's financial constraints, highlighting that the country lacks the funds to sustain the system. With Milei's upcoming presidency, everybody is anticipating a period of potential instability. They fear that as the transition approaches, concerns over a shift to dollarization could lead to a run on the peso, causing panic among the public. Additionally, there's speculation that Massa might initiate a delayed devaluation of the peso, possibly to make Milei face the political consequences. This move could potentially quicken inflation, even leading to hyperinflation, emphasizing the risk of a rapid spike in prices. Milei has emphasized belt-tightening measures during his campaigns, promising a 15% cut in public spending, the privatization of state companies, and reducing subsidies on fuel, transport, and electricity. These proposals align with long-standing demands from the International Monetary Fund, which has financially supported Argentina numerous times, including a recent $44 billion loan in 2018. However, tackling these economic issues won't be easy. Benjamin Gadan, the director of the Argentina project at the Wilson Center, pointed out the challenges faced by Milei's predecessors in breaking the cycle of budget deficits, debt, money printing, and inflation. He highlighted the potential pain and widespread impact of any serious stabilization program, but eventually, a positive result might appear in sight. There's a looming concern about possible protests and social unrest, especially given that nearly half of the country did not favor Milei's rise to power. This raises the specter of potential tensions as the new government seeks to navigate complex economic reforms. But overall, these concerns seem little when you think that the entire country is about to be revamped. However, disparities are apparent. Unlike Trump, Milei stands as a committed libertarian and a trained economist, diverging from Trump's profile in these aspects. Furthermore, Trump assumed leadership of an established political party, whereas Milei forged his path by creating his own. But here's the million-dollar question. Could Milei spark a turnaround for Argentina? According to Gadan, if Milei and his allies in the opposition can successfully rein in spending and trim welfare and subsidies while safeguarding the most vulnerable, it might just mark a pivotal moment for the country's betterment. There's a silver lining in the clouds too. Following Argentina's worst drought in 100 years, which severely impacted agricultural exports, causing a $20 billion revenue shortfall over the past couple of years, the nation anticipates a stellar harvest in 2024. Moreover, Milei is poised to reap the benefits of an expected $10 billion annual savings in energy imports. This windfall arises from a new gas pipeline that's set to elevate production from the vast oil and gas reserve in southern Vaca Muerta, as estimated by economist Elizabeth Basigualupo from the Abasep firm. These developments on the horizon could potentially fuel a positive economic shift for the country. During Milei's initial week as president, amid currency devaluation, halting public projects, proposed cuts in fuel and transport subsidies, and staff dismissals, Capital and Maine talked to Argentinians about their expectations from the new administration. So it's safe to say that things seem to be on the right track. Gustavo Kim, an IT specialist in Buenos Aires, sees Milei as a torchbearer of a much-awaited economic revolution. Kim believes Argentina's economic downfall over 80 years is due to a flawed approach. While not an avid Milei supporter, Kim endorses the liberty-centric ideas he represents, advocating for reduced socialism and government intervention in the economy. Kim appreciates Milei's transparent timeline for change, spanning 30 years. He expresses worry that opposition forces might disrupt progress to preserve their privileges at the expense of the people. Victoria Garcia Martin, a graphic designer in Buenos Aires, acknowledges the widespread frustration with the country's political and economic state. She points out that Milei's newness and promises, although seemingly unrealistic, offer hope to many. But what do you think about Argentina's brand new president? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, do us a solid and smash that like button. And make sure to subscribe so you'll be the first to know about upcoming content. Buckle up, folks, because there's a lot we have in store for you.